So just the other day, I was looking around at my weapons and I was wondering what could I make a video on that I hadn't done before. And I was like, what if I revisited a weapon? I looked at my hate build and realized, wow, this was back when there were no galvanized mods on my builds. But now with galvanized mods, including the burning hate mod, I decided to try and make a build around it. Things I realized did make a problem with it though is the hate has innate heat with its Incarnon, specifically the projectile. Problem is, with influence, you ruin that ability to get heat because the blades become radiation. But an easy fix around that was having a pet primate. So now with burning hate, I'm able to hit ridiculous numbers because, well, the enemy is taking in heat damage from a source and I am able to deal damage on top of that. It's why my hate is hitting such ridiculous numbers, even without Wrathful of Ants on. But with the occlusion of it, you're able to hit even bigger numbers. It's also why I'm using TennoCreate. Makes it stronger, makes it really nice to use because then I get free heavy attacks whenever I want. So while yes, this may be a normal influence build using burning hate, some people may not have it. So I will also show a newer reprised version of my build that doesn't use burning hate, that would be more of a typical influence build you would use in normal missions instead of just a normal hate with burning hate on, since that does indeed increase its damage, since it's kind of like Galvanized Elementalist, but 120% damage instead. So when an Acolyte spawns, we'll see how good this build does against them. So I will see y'all when one of those Acolytes appear. All right, the Acolyte has finally decided to appear, so let's see what we're getting. Oh, we're getting the worst one too. Getting Malice, ugh. You're probably wondering, well, why do you not like Malice? It's purely because of the magnetic stuff he can apply to you, but as you saw, I did really good damage despite not having my Incarnon active because I was trying to stay alive and not die due to the mag bubble he puts on us. But you see, I'm still doing really good damage on the normal enemies because the whole point of burning hate on top of Galvanized Elementalist and Conditional Overload is you have turned your hate Incarnon into literally the best weapon for any priming pet. You just slaughter. But I will once again be showing 2 more builds in the simulacrum whenever I showcase it, where I show off the build I have for just normal, just a normal influence build, and then I have a interesting build I have for burning hate. If you don't want to use influence, instead want to use a different arcane on top of it. So I will see y'all in the simulacrum. And here we are back in the simulacrum. So I wanted to give a little bit of information on the burning hate mod beforehand, and then I will show off the other 2 builds I have made. So when it comes to burning hate says when hate damages enemies afflicted with a heat status, they become vulnerable to 120% more status damage. This is similar to Galvanized Elementals, which is about the same thing, but this in particular has its special quality. When it comes to the burning hate mod, if an enemy is hit by hate that has any heat element on, doesn't matter where it came from, they will take that damage vulnerability. The heat status can be from any source, like I just said. It is also multiplicative with melee elementalists, including galvanized elementalists. So, oh, and faction damage bonuses. I forgot I wrote that. It's also multiplicative with melee elementalists and faction damage bonus. So if you wanted to, you could make a dot build with hate. But as well, the damage increase is additive with Dante's final verse page flights, you know, little books that chase you around for the status damage increase. That also helps. And like I had said in the game, the heat status that has been spread through influence. So whenever you spread it from like other sources, that will also get the damage vulnerability both to the spread and further status procs, and the proc, even when the heat proc goes away, the status damage vulnerability will still be there. So now let's cover the 3 builds I have for this weapon and show them off in a more controlled setting. Okay, let's quickly cover these 3 builds and test them, or test 2 of them, because the funny build I've already shown before. But with the Burning Hay influence build, it's quite simple. We have Burning Hay, we have Galvanized Elementalist, all 3 Galvanized to be exact, Conditional Overload, Viral, and then Electricity. Now, how am I getting my heat? I'm getting my heat from using my Recruit, which is my Hound pet, which runs Viral, Heat, Rad, and Magnetic, meaning technically you could take Viral off of your hate, but I like it in case my pet misses and I need it applied some other way. Next is the funny build. The funny build is just a blast influence build. I still enjoy using these because it's still a really fun way of getting the local area to just explode, and it's fun to use it. Finally, we have the Melee Afflictions build I made. The Melee Afflictions build is quite simple. It goes off of using, once again, Conditional Overload, but we have Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds, We have Galvanized Elementalist to be multiplicative with Burning Hate. We have Volcanic Edge for the heat, Galvanized Steel, Galvanized Reflex. This allows you to use whatever pet you prefer. In this case, with this version of the build, I probably wouldn't use Recruit. Instead, I'd probably use Talana, because of the whole point with Talana being that I have Mecha Recharge. It'll mark a target, and then any of the status effects applied to all the enemies within 50 meters will then spread, which is quite nice. But you can still use a primer pet like Nautilus with, not Death Machine Rifle. With the Tazakor is quite nice. You could once again use a Hound pet, but for my testing, I will use Talana. And since the weapon does not have a good amount of attack speed, I recommend that you run Arcane Strike on your Warframe, as well as if you want Wrathful Advance, it's very good and very strong. Now, let's go test the Afflictions build here in the Simulacrum, because you already saw the other one in the Steel Path mission. Real quick before we go in and fight the enemies, the evolutions have stayed the same. There's still Swordman's Flourish, Orichan Reach, and Subtle Force. But if you wanted to, you could change Subtle Force to the other variant, which allows you to get more crit chance, not more crit chance, sorry, more stash chance. So whenever you use Stalking Fan, you have a guaranteed lift up, which is quite nice. But what happens when you proc the Incarnon? Well, as you see, they die even faster because of the whole heat proc. You can include even more procs by adding on, like I said, a priming pet, a pet that just spreads status quite well, or a primer weapon like the Epitaph Prime, Epitaph itself. You can use a Nucor. It's all up to you. But what happens if you decide to use Wrathful Advance on top of all this? Well, let's just say your crit damage has gotten even better on top of being able to kill faster, since, well, everything dies a lot quicker when you hit mega crits like that. I mean, look at that. 120k slash with double exclamation mark. It's amazing. Now, like I said, you can mix it with a primer pet to make this even better. So I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the revision and how this mod works with hate, and if it's worth trying to get it from somebody on like Warframe Market or in the trading or in Barrow's Bazaar. When it comes to using the hate, it is one of my go-to options, since using a scythe is quite nice, since the stances, yeah, the stances are quite nice. They're very fun to use, and I really do enjoy how Reaping Spiral has its own innate knock up, lift, slam, and when it comes to using the other one, Stalking Fan, it's not that, it's just not my go-to. The weapon overall feels phenomenal still. The Incarnon hasn't really aged that badly, and the mod that we have acquired being Burning Hate from, I think it was last Nightwave, it's not bad. I think it's really, really good, and it's even more powerful than it should be, since it is multiplicative with Galvanized Elementalist and any of the smite mods you use. So any of these it is also multiplicative with, which is very, very nice. So do I recommend it? Yes, I really do recommend it, and I think everybody should try to get at least the Hate Incarnon. Burning Hate isn't required. It is just a nice addition to have on top of that. Give the builds a try, see how you like them, build it to see how you prefer it. If you guys want me to review more of my old weapons and give them a more revised, updated mod config, tell me down below. I'll make sure I do them. Things like the Despair, the Dread, Soma, Brat, and Burst on, stuff like that. I'll try my best to keep them up to date if you ask for them. So I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.